Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cardin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it very much, and let me thank the Administrator. Thank you for your leadership on these issues. I appreciate the engagement you've had with our office. These are exciting times. We have opportunities that we have not seen in generations to deal with our water infrastructure. We all know the current status of our water infrastructure, whether it's drinking water or wastewater. It's not where it needs to be. We consistently get grades that are unacceptable. I use Baltimore City as an example. Baltimore City had the best drinking water system in the world 100 years ago. And unfortunately, some of those pipes are still in the ground today or being used. So we have challenges in Baltimore. We have challenges throughout our country. And one of the major parts of the bipartisan infrastructure in increasing the resources going into our state revolving funds was to direct your efforts to traditionally underserved communities, communities that have an affordability issue in regards to doing the necessary infrastructure that is critical to both drinking water and wastewater treatment. So tell me how you're going about reaching those communities that have had challenges in the past, being able to afford the necessary improvements into their water systems, carrying out the intent of Congress.
Thank you for that question. So we're doing a couple of things. One is, one of, I think, the most exciting features of the bipartisan infrastructure law is that you all provided about, 49% of resources must be spent for, be put out as grants and principal forgiveness in disadvantaged communities. I think your vision in designing the bipartisan infrastructure law has unlocked so much potential, because the challenge, right, Senator, is that disadvantaged communities often don't have the financial capacity to access the loan aspect of the SRFs. So by putting so much money out as grants and principal forgiveness, you've removed one of the critical barriers that these communities face. But we know that just having the resources available isn't enough. So that's why we have stood up the most ambitious technical assistance program alongside the capital projects that we're funding. We have built out our environmental finance centers. We have 29 of them. Every region, EPA region, has an environmental finance center, as well as national ones. They are basically available to any community that wants technical assistance in order to access the SRF funds. And, as we design that technical assistance effort, I thought about when I worked at a local water utility. I was at the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, and there we had access to all of the best engineering, design, financial planning. A disadvantaged community doesn't have access to those things, but they need that in order to get these SRF funds. So we're basically making that available to any community that wants them. We just opened up our TA webpage, so I'd love to share that information with the committee so that you could share that with your constituents. And so we're going to be helping thousands of communities access these SRF dollars. But really, that is the core of the strategy, providing that technical assistance support so that these disadvantaged communities can build their technical, financial, and managerial capacity.
And I will follow up with you as to how that's being implemented. We have jurisdictions like Baltimore City where the ratepayer support is just inadequate to deal with the needs that we have because of income. And then we have communities like Smith Island, which are so isolated that they just don't have the population to be able to support the water that they need without greater assistance. So we have different needs in our state. I'm sure that's true throughout the country. Technical assistance would be critically important, but also making sure the resources get to those communities. So please keep us informed, and I'll be working with you on that. And I want to ask you one other question about the low-income water assistance program. We provided $3 million in the FY23 omnibus for you to conduct a low-income water assistance needs assessment. Senator Wicker and I have worked on the realities that water bills are beyond the capacity of many payers today. We have a low-income utility assistance program under LIHEAP. Well, we think there is a need for one under water. How are you implementing that needs assessment?
Yes, thank you for that question, and you're absolutely right. This issue of water affordability, even though the $50 billion in funding from the federal government will make a huge difference, water affordability is a growing challenge in communities across the country. And, you know, in my former role as the CEO for the U.S. Water Alliance, I helped create this water equity and affordability network. As to the assessment, we're currently, we're going to partner with HHS in the development of that assessment since they're managing the LIWAP program. We're currently designing the methodology for that assessment, and it's going to get underway very soon. And I'm happy to keep your office, Senator Cardin, Senator Wicker's office is up to date on how that assessment is going. In addition to that, we are working closely to support HHS as they continue to administer the LIWAP program, which we're so grateful was developed by this Congress.
Well, thank you. I appreciate if you keep me informed. Madam Chair, I have a request, a unanimous consent request on behalf of the chairman. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter from the American Sustainable Business Network, which represents more than 400 businesses that rely upon clean water. This diverse coalition of businesses includes breweries, mattress companies, and farms. The letter expressed opposition to efforts to use the Congressional Review Act to overturn the 2023 WOTUS rule.
Without objection.
Thank you.
Senator Lummis.